Hello, this is Roger again. I'd like to demonstrate the summer camp request for payment, otherwise known as reimbursement, for the budget that we have previously created a video for on the PU2 um, program for an allocated amount of $55,000. And we're going to go to our program page again just to demonstrate and make clear we are talking about this program at 55,000. So once you're on the correct program page, you're logged in and ready to create that request for payment. You would do this at the end of summer camp after all your units of service have been entered. And the way that you know that everything is ready and what the amount of dollar value is that you can request is you're going to run a report, and that would be from our reports on the submenu. You go to PUOS and run the Program Units of Service Activity Report. This is the report that will give you the invoice information that you will attach to your request for payment, to your reimbursement in the Units of Service line item. Without the report that we're about to run, you will not be able to complete the reimbursement. So this is crucial. And the other thing to keep in mind, this report would not be valid until your data manager or the program manager had completed all the provided units of service for your summer camp within the SAMIS system. But once that's occurred, you can come into the reports consolidated from the submenu and run the activity report. So let's do that. We'll click this and we have a run parameter screen. We will choose program for our report level. The date range is your fiscal year. Again, you're going to be doing something that probably says 16-17 summer camps. One of the test systems is not exactly the same year, and I will need to be doing the 16-17 test for my program. That's where I created the budget. Budgets and all fiscal documents are tied to a fiscal year and a program page. You need both the correct program and the correct fiscal year. Now, you would ideally be doing something like the first day of camp and the last day of camp, which I'm not exactly sure what those would be for everyone. Something like that. I'm going to run this for the 1st of April, which is what I have data for that would produce a dollar amount from the report here on the test system. And by the way, this is more or less exactly, I suppose, how you would run this for the after-school programs. You would need to run this activity report monthly for your after-school programs. For summer camp, we do it for the whole camp because you only do one reimbursement request. And for after-schools, obviously do one each month. Now, we put our program name in. Program site will default to all sites. So this is what a valid setup would look like to run this report. In this case, only for April of 2017 and for the PU2 test program. Ready to run my report. And we'll take a couple of seconds. There we go. You notice sometimes people get a little confused. I clicked run report and I didn't see what I was looking for, and that was the green ribbon. If that ever happens, just grab your vertical scroll bar and scroll down until you see it. These reports can generate in under 1 second, as this one did. Sometimes it can take 2 or 3 seconds. I'm going to click the blue .pdf, and I will then get an activity report. Now, this is on the test system. There's a couple of things here that you won't have to worry about. You're not going to have after-school program assessments or behavioral counseling. Yours will for summer camp anyway, just say summer programs or summer camp. The report is telling us that one unit or one session for my summer camp will equate to $75. And then it will count the number of units of service that were entered. right here you see there were 73 in this example, and that came to a total amount shown there. This is why it's critical to have to be certain that your data managers or program manager staff have entered all of these units before you run this report. That way you get the full amount that you're eligible to request. I also will go up and make sure I ran this for the correct date range and for the correct program. So this, again, the main point here was how to run the report. And you see, again, that was reports, PUOS, and then program units of service activities. And I filled in filters like this. Once you're done, you can go back to your dashboard by clicking the icon. Now let me show you an example of a report that's a mock-up that is more in line with the budget we have. Today we are working on the PU2 example budget, and it had a units of service line item planned at 51,000. I see here that 681 units of service were entered. At $75 per unit, that comes out to a little over $51,000 actually. They should have only shown 680, but that's okay. What we will do is we'll show the planned amount at 51,000, and we'll be able to submit our request for payment. And this will be uploaded as an invoice. So that's what it would look like. Let's go ahead and start. I'm on the program page. I'm going to fiscal, and we always go to my approval queue to create new fiscal documents. And I know that I'm set up as the creator for reimbursements. I'll click new approval request, making sure I'm on the right fiscal year. For test purposes, that's where I need to be. And you will be on 16-17 summer camp more than likely. PU2 test is my program. My area will be reimbursements. And I'm going to go with April 1st through April 30th. You will go with the first day of camp and the last day of camp. If you're doing after school, you will be doing the first and last day of the month. I'll start request. Okay, so that quickly generated a reimbursement number 14476 for my program. And I see that it's still expecting a $55,000 allocation, and it shows me the period that I ran this for. So far, so good. I'd like to draw your attention down to the year-to-date amount owed. All of our summer camps are anticipating a 50% advance at the beginning of camp or before the beginning of camp, and that has to be recouped or paid back and through your one payment request / reimbursement. This is telling me that my advance was $27,500, 50% of my $55,000. I also see that again in year-to-date reimbursement. It treats the advance on this worksheet as if it had been an earlier reimbursement. And it tells me that's the amount that's owed back. Now then, all that we have to do to get this completed is go down to our expense accounts, keeping in mind we will have no need to work in the salary area. We'll go straight to this area, and we'll start with units of service. It's planned at 51,000. I'll click that, and I'll adjust the size here. And you'll remember that the report that we looked at was showing 51,075. We're going to go with our planned amount. If your program did not provide the planned services, the planned number of units of service, you could have a lower amount, in which case you would go with a lower amount. So if your camp only provided $40,000 worth of units of service, then you would put that amount here. But if you go over, you're going to only put what the total amount that was anticipated the plan was. So what I'm attempting to get completed here is a current request value. It starts out at 0. I'm going to click Add Payment. Check number, I can put a check number in there. I'll use today's date. And I'll say something here, Rogers Camp, that'll be fine. Check amount, will be $51,000. This line item in both fields. CSE reimbursement will match the check amount. Now I also have to upload at this line item the report that we just ran, that PUOS by activity report. Notice before we start, the value in the blue box is 0. I'm going to click Add, and I'm going to give this a title. This is for April in my case. You would say something like Activity Report Invoice for Summer Camp 2017. You would put some sort of a description in here that would explain that a little further if necessary. That field isn't, by the way, required. You do have to put a description in there of some sort. I want to quickly go to this, and I have my PUOS activity report. Now, what's important here is notice that I gave it a meaningful name. I identified it as the PUOS activity report for my program. PU2 is my program here, and for a date range. You would say Summer Camp 2017 or whatever you think would be definitive on that. I'll click and then I'll do the upload. Now you see there's a 1 there. I'll save my payment. I should see reimbursement expense saved top right. Now I can see that on the general ledger. It took me right back, and you see that I showed the $51,000. Now, notice the pink error message. The year-to-date reimbursement request amount is greater than the allocated amount. The reason that is, I have not paid back the advanced yet. So let's go take care of that. So we're going to go up to advanced adjustments. And by the way, I sort of did this on purpose. What you want to do is go to advances and adjustments first, and then you won't have this error message. But if you do forget that, this is what you're going to see. Just go up to advances and adjustments at the top left. Choose outstanding adjustments. There should only be one advanced payback option there. And then the amount to apply is going to be the full $27,500 in my example. Advance. And by the advance adjustment. So that logs it in at $27,500. And I'm going to, well, this is a little tricky, but how do you get back to the reimbursement worksheet now? What you have to do is go to Fiscal, My Approval Queue again. Then you're going to make sure that you're set up for reimbursements. There it is. I'm going to open that up. And now I see everything's okay again. I have a year-to-date amount owed is 0. It has been paid back. My net adjustment was $27,500. I can complete my request. I've already done my $51,000 here. Now I need to do my lease rent equipment. Click that, and we'll get into exactly the same type of payment worksheet that we saw for the units of service. I'll call this check 2, and we'll step through this quickly. It's all the same at this stage. This one is going to be $3,000. I see that up here, and I will need to add supporting documentation. I see there's a 0 in the blue box. I'll click Add, and I'll call this my support documentation line item. Equipment. File. I have building lease is going to be the example document I use for the moment. You probably want a better name than that on your actual file title. And this has completed everything that needs to be done. To save payments, I see that expense line item has been saved. I'm back on the general ledger. I can confirm it. Lease rent's now at $3,000. Use of service at $51,000. I'm going to expense items. Student transportation is my last one. And I'll come down and add payment. This will be check number 3. Today's date would be good. Bus company will say for transportation. Amount of check is $1,000. Amount of reimbursement being requested is $1,000. Add my supporting document. And choose the file. And I see I got something for field trips. We'll go with that one. And I see a 1 now in my blue box. I'll say payments. Reimbursement expense has been saved. And I'm back on the general ledger. You'll notice I'm at $55,000 now. So I'm requesting everything that I was allocated, and even though there was an advance, SAMIS is going to keep track of that once I've paid it back. In reality, the net reimbursement is 50% of the allocation because of the advance. I'll come down here. I also need to take care of my available funders. The amount I need to show that if I actually got that amount, that we in fact received it. And I'll do that for each line item. This one's in here. And so that. The last thing that I can do, and it will total after we save it, is if there was a match amount, in-kind amount. Let's say that I, as the provider, brought in $2,000 for my in-kind match amount. But cover that, and again, just as the other funder values, the reimbursement match data will make no mathematical difference in the actual budget. It's for record keeping purposes and so forth. So I'm going to save this reimbursement, and I see the reimbursement saved. I get the reimbursement confirmation up there. We'll come down and we'll go through the same steps as we did for the budget. We'll click forward. It has been forwarded, and I do get a message to that effect. And I see that the reimbursement has been forwarded, so that looks good. Now, because I am the reviewer and submitter as well, I can go back to my dashboard in my approval queue. I see that reimbursement. I could also go to fiscal in my approval queue in this manner and open it up the same way. But it's a little easier to do it from your dashboard. Okay, so now I've opened the reimbursement as the reviewer and submitter. Everything looks good. I can open any line item that I would like to review in further detail. Then I can certify that this is true and accurate. I can submit it. I could reject it, of course, as well. I'll do the submit. And in a moment, we'll see an email. It tells me now it's been forwarded. Let's wait just a moment for our email. I see it now. Very important that you confirm that you receive that email telling you that it's been sent over to JCC, submitted to CSC, that's the Jacksonville Children's Commission. And I'm going to quickly log out and log in with my other account and approve it so you can see the final process. Here we go. Now I'm serving as the JCC final approver in finance. It would actually go to your contract manager first, and then to the final approval. But everything is shown here with the advance, net adjustment, full allocation, the fact that you are going to, in essence, be requesting a payment for $27,500. That being your allocated budget minus your advance. I'll approve it. And click confirm. Reimbursement has been approved. I want to show you one last thing with this. I'm going to log out, log back in from the agency CFO's point of view. By the way, here's the email. And reimbursement has been approved. So everything looks good. Back here, I can go into physical documents as the agency level, and I can see my approved reimbursement. I can open it up as necessary. And it will have all those documents we added to it, plus all of the other funders and in-kind match that we recorded. So that will get you to the end of summer camp and your reimbursement submitted and paid. Thank you.